When life gets busy, pause, take a breath, and reset your mind. Download Mindset and listen to your favorite inspirational speeches to unlock your full potential.
It don't matter how much it feel like it ain't gonna work.
Delusional.
Complete delusion.
There's no losing, only learning. There's no failure, only opportunities. And there's no problems, only solutions.
You have to have delusion, 100%. You have to be the first person that thinks that you're gonna do what you're about to do. You know, regardless of what anyone else thinks, you gotta believe it. So it is delusional.
You gotta believe the delusion because it's only delusional until it works.
If you can see it here and you have the courage enough to speak it, it will happen. A lot of times people believe in certain things, but they keep to themselves. They don't put it out there. You truly believe in it. If you become vocal with it, you are creating that law of attraction and it will become reality.
Until you win, effort always goes unnoticed. Get used to it. No one roots for you until everyone roots for you. That's just how it works.
And then once the world see it, there's nothing delusional about it. Now your delusion becomes, oh, he was a genius.
When you figure out who you are and what you want to do, and you devote your life to it like a maniac, like you're all in on this thing, and you manifest, most of these people end up doing what they say they're going to do and being who they say they're going to become.
So you got to realize that it's up to you to decide what it is you truly want, and it's up to you to accept what pain you are willing to accept, because if you struggle and you flounder and you refuse to take responsibility for yourself and become that version that you know you're supposed to become, you will be miserable.
And there's no excuses, there's no days off, there's no not willing to grind, and everybody's against me and this didn't happen for me because of this and that and all this whining and ass bullshit that a lot of people do these days. It's these people who dive in and they're hardcore and they're focused and they know what they want, they know who they are, and they lay out these short-term goals and this roadmap on how to get there. Most of those people make it.
Failure is the mother of all success. If it wasn't for Michael Jordan getting cut from his 9th grade basketball team, he wouldn't have became Michael Jordan.
You're going to lose sleep. You'll doubt whether it'll work. You'll stress to make ends meet. You won't finish your to-do list. You'll wonder whether you made the right call and have no way to know for years. This is what hard feels like, and that's okay.
You are what you think about. Everything that you think about, you become. You become what you think about. Thoughts lead to actions. Actions lead to behaviors. Behaviors leads to lifestyle. Lifestyle determines your destiny.
The consistency of work. Monday, get better. Tuesday, get better. Wednesday, get better, right? And you do that over a period of time, you know, not like 1 month or 2 months. I mean, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And then you can get to where you want to go.
You could put in the work. You could put in the time. You could say, I am not going to settle. I am going to become exactly who I'm meant to become.
Stop questioning your purpose. Just know that whatever journey you're on, you can't be envious of somebody else. You can't look over in their yard and go, why ain't I rocking like that person? It's not your time. God don't want that to happen for you like that. You just keep doing what you doing, and there's no bad in your life. It's all good. Just be grateful along the way that God, trust God in this journey. He got you. Don't try to thirst to be nobody else. Just don't question when something bad happens to you. Just know that God's trying to make you stronger. And lastly, just be grateful for who you are on this journey. Don't try to be anybody except you. I'm Marlon Wayans.
But if you believe that you're good at what you do, and you strive to be good at what you do, you don't need to worry about what other people think. You need to be able to understand that you have your own confidence that you can do whatever it is you're required to do, and other people will see that confidence in you. The minute you start doubting yourself, other people will see that you're doubting yourself, and that becomes a weakness in your personality. So you always want to be confident in everything you do, that you can do it, you can get it done, you'll find a way to get it done.
Even if you don't become exactly what it is you want to become, you will have created so much good in this world that you will not have regrets when you die.
Everything worth doing is hard, and the more worth doing it is, the harder it is. The greater the payoff, the greater the hardship. If it's hard, good, it means no one else will do it. More for you.
You're afraid that if you put your heart and soul into it and you fail, then how are you going to feel about yourself? Right? So being fearless means putting yourself out there and going for it. No matter what, go for it. Not for anybody else, but for yourself.
If you can control and wield your mind, you can very much determine your destiny. If you can determine that regardless of what your mind says, you will go to the gym, you will develop a physique unlike 99% of society. If you decide to work on your business and you decide and you commit and you determine your mindset and you wield it, if you determine to be rich, you'll be rich. Everything is in your control.
There's a hell of a lot more to you than you think, like way more. Enough to cope with the trouble of the world inside you. There is enough to cope with the trouble of the world. And if you had enough courage, you could let that out. Enough courage and faith, you could let that out, and everything would be better because of it.
There's nobody coming. There's nobody coming to save you. There's nobody coming to help you. You are the only one that's going to be able to save you.
If you understood the power of your thoughts, you'd never think negatively ever again. I also think that once you understand all of the bad things and good things that come into your life are a perfect plan from God himself, you're going to be a lot less affected by the bad things.
You have a great life in front of you, but your great life is in front of you. It's not behind you. What you did back there ain't got nothing to do with what God got for you. What you did back there was learn the lessons to get you to where you are at this particular moment right here. We take the negativity, the doubt, the frustration, the fear, the anger, all of that, and the minute we start to feel it, we say, motherfucker, I'm winning.
If something bad happens to you, it's part of God's plan. He knows what he's doing. In the end, you're going to be happy it happened. I often ask people, is there anything bad that's happened to you in the past at the time you were distraught about that you now wish didn't even happen? And truthfully, you're like, no, I'm kind of glad it all happened because of.
So sometimes when you think you're making the wrong decision, or you have to making the toughest decision because you're thinking about somebody else and the consequences, if you think the price of winning is too high, wait till you get the bill from regret.
I know I'm going to do it. That's the haunting part, is that it's going to happen. It has to happen. And that's a fact.
So if you understand you're always going to get there eventually, why be upset about it now, right? If you know in a year from now you'll be glad it happened, why be upset about it happening now? You have to be cerebral enough about things.
Strength is not from the efforts in a physical state. No. It starts with an undying will, belief that the journey you're about to embark on is a winnable course of action and that you can do it better than anyone's done it before. That belief is so ingrained in the will of the individual that creates the driving force of physical strength to turn into a maturity of something.
And all this time, you point your finger and you say, I can't do that because I was born here, or I can't do that because I have this issue, or I can't do that because they made fun of me. And you know what's gonna happen? Nothing. You're gonna get more of the same. You're gonna get laughed at more. You're gonna be ashamed more. You're gonna be frustrated more. And you're gonna really regret at the end of your life that you put off taking responsibility for yourself and building yourself into what could be.
And that bill from regret is generational. And there's a lot of people listening to this that bill has been passed on from generation to generation, and you are holding that bill right now. And somebody in one of your generations has to pay that bill off.
I think if you take these approaches, if you take the approach of manifesting what you want so you're constantly motivated and understanding all the bad things that happen to you are just a lesson and one day you're going to get over it, it's pretty easy to be a happy, contented, balanced person. I don't think there's any serious magic to happiness. I think it's a choice and it's pretty easy to do.
It's going to take time and it's going to be hard, and you're not going to live the same life as all of your friends and all of your family, and they're not going to understand it, and they're going to criticize you, and they're going to laugh at you, and they're going to make jokes about it, because that's not the path that they are on.
Don't be ashamed of your effort. Midwits hate earnestness and sincere conviction because they can't stand being reminded of the thing they're capable of but resist actually trying. People will try to put the same limitations on you that they put on themselves. Don't mistake their insecurities for your ceiling.
Success is a lonely journey. That's just a reality. And most people are not going to understand why you're so driven, why you're so obsessed. And if you try and make them understand, you're going to end up frustrated. The best advice I can tell you is go on the journey by yourself. It is the best journey, man. Leveling up, making more money, losing weight, getting fit, becoming the best version of yourself is the most awesomest journey you will ever go on, but is a journey that you will probably go on by yourself. Most people will not understand the level of obsession required. They will not understand the level of drive and determination that it takes for you to become that person.
I think the unhappiest people in the world don't have any struggle at all. You often find that people who are struggling but know exactly what they're supposed to do. If they're getting up every day and they're grinding and they're working hard and they don't have what they want yet, but they believe they're going to get it and they're trying their very best and they're dedicating themselves, they're very happy. Perhaps the people who are born with a trust fund and unlimited money and have no struggles in their life and they have no objectives to try and conquer are truly the miserable ones. Perhaps we're built for struggle. Perhaps the human mind and soul and spirit is built to struggle. Perhaps we're built to suffer.
Do not be discouraged by the struggle. Struggle is a good sign that the Spirit of God is at work in your life. If you're not struggling in any way over sin, I worry about you. But if you're that person's like, dude, I'm just struggling, good, bro. Because what you're recognizing is that there's this war, as you said, raging between your flesh and the spirit, and both of these are trying to win out over the other. You know, your flesh is trying to draw you away from God and towards sin, and the Spirit of God is trying to draw you away from sin and toward God in a life of righteousness. And so that internal battle shows that the Spirit is in you, that you have been saved, that He is working to save you in present time from the power of sin.
So it's very difficult in the beginning for a young person to go down the path, because once they step into that path, they meet resistance from literally everywhere they go. They're meeting resistance from their friends, their family. They're getting made fun of on the internet. They're being asked, like, are you sure? And they're being told, don't forget where you came from, man. Don't forget to be humble. You know, you're getting a little too materialistic. You know, you're getting a little greedy there.
When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person that walked into it. That's what the storm is all about. When you can't control what's happening to you, control how you respond to it. That's where your power is.
Be encouraged by the struggle.
Yeah.
Lean into the struggle.
Yeah.
The great news is the Spirit of God can give you power to put the flesh to death, that the flesh has no authority over you. As Paul says in Romans 8, you're not obligated to sin any longer. You do not have to say yes. The enemy wants you to believe the lie that you have to say yes, that the flesh is too strong for you, that you can't overcome it. But the Spirit of God is there so that you can.
Yeah.
And so as long as you will walk in step with Him and yield to Him each day and ask Him for what you need to put the flesh to death, He'll give it to you, and then He'll lead you in the way you should go.
Most people don't focus on their mindset. Most people are focused on exterior factors. They think that everything that happens to them is by chance. And they don't realize that a lot of the things that happen to them are things that they attract, because you attract the things that you are, and you are what you do, and you do what you think about. Most people don't understand the power of the mind. That's why they haven't tapped into the power of the mind. And the power of the mind is one very simple thing: the ability to direct your attention towards a specific given objective, and then to have the willpower to pursue it.
Be authentic to who you are. That's what it comes down to. Like, you're not crazy, you're not broken, you're not, you know, something that needs to be fixed just because you're not like everybody else. Maybe you're not like everybody else because you have a fucking gift that they don't have. So that's something to consider as well. And I've found that to be the case more than not when it comes to listening to critiques or judgment or advice from other people. Okay, I'm me, the recipe is the recipe, and it is what it is. If you don't like the way it tastes, don't eat it.
I also think that God is pleased with you when you show Him the beauty of His creation. I think that God is pleased with you when you work as hard as you possibly can and you do the best you can in anything you're going to attempt. God loves people who work hard and try hard. And in my own personal life, I can see that God is very happy with me when I give it 100%. And very few people give anything 100%. It's very rare you meet somebody and if they're honest with themselves and with you and with God, say, I gave it everything I had. They gave it some, they tried a bit, they got demotivated, they got distracted, they got tempted. But when you truly give your 100% to something, I think that makes God very happy with you. And I think He rewards us.
It's going to be the hardest thing you ever did. Probably going to take 3 or 4 times as long as you think it's going to take. Along the way, you're going to lose all your friends. You're going to get made fun of. You're going to get bullied. You're going to get harassed. You're going to get attacked on the internet daily. You're going to struggle. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to owe people money. You're going to f up your bank account. There's going to be multiple days where you don't think that you're going to make it. And those days sometimes last for months. Nobody's going to relate to you. No one's going to understand why you're doing it. Everybody's going to question it. You're going to have to answer it every single time, and it's going to piss you off. And bro, this is the life that you're choosing. Like, you're choosing it, so you can't be surprised that it's hard. This is what you're signing up for.
It is a curse to have everything go right on your first attempt.
If you're just constantly seeking more happiness and it's not there, then you're seeking something that's never going to be there. But if you're able to just stick in what you're doing right now, and in those hard times, believing they're going to lead to good times, it just creates a lot less friction in your life.
No risk, no Ferrari. And we know this to be true. If you want to win the game of life, if you want to take it to the top, you have to be able to sacrifice who you are today for who you want to become. And for a lot of people, they may just be comfortable with their 9 to 5, and I completely get it and I validate it. If that's what you want to live and if you're happy, so be it. But I'm willing to neglect the money in the short term and not get that paycheck just because I understand that if you plant enough seeds in due time, you will reap massive rewards.
I think whenever we're going through a hard time, we just want it to end. But it's those moments that allow us to appreciate the good ones. I think sometimes a quick word of just looking at them and being like, I know, you're not alone. Give them a hug and be like, this is shit right now, and it's okay. But you're not alone.
Most of the time on this journey, you are going to feel like shit. You are going to be overwhelmed. You are going to be stressed. You are going to be tired. You are going to wonder if it's the right thing. That's most of the time.
You're not going to score on every shot. Right. Doesn't mean you shouldn't take the shots. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try to hit the goal. But part of being able to continue to take shots is to have the strength of character to tolerate the fact that in that instance you weren't on top.
Reality is it's hard. Reality is it's going to take everything you got. Reality is if you don't have a big old chip on your shoulder that you could draw from and then have it push you down the road, you're not going to make it.
Sometimes you need to get knocked down before you can really figure out what your fight is. Sometimes you need to feel the pain and sting of defeat to activate the real passion and purpose that God predestined inside of you.
Do what's personal to you. Take it as far as you could go. Really push the boundaries. People will resonate with it if they're supposed to resonate with it, but you can't get there the other way. You know, the other way is a dead-end path.
So when you look around and you start feeling bad because these people are criticizing you, because these people are attacking you, because these people are doubting you, I challenge you to flip the perspective to one where you're thankful for that. Because eventually you'll become so successful, you won't have people doubting you anymore. You won't have people criticizing you like that. You won't have people that don't believe, and you won't have that fuel, and you wish you did.
There's no difference between responsibility and adventure. Take the path of maximal responsibility. Not because you should, even though you should. That's not why. It's because that's the pathway of maximal adventure.
All these things that we're afraid of, they're doors that can possibly lead you to a whole other world. But we keep them shut for fear, for insecurities. And that's the thing about tripling down on your weaknesses, so then those weaknesses end up becoming your strengths. You got to put yourself on that pedestal, hold yourself to a higher standard, hold yourself accountable, and then look up to yourself. I'm not saying kiss your own ass, but I'm saying hold yourself to a standard and look inside yourself and try to be the best you can be.
The reality of life is this: the world's relentless, and it will not stop beating your ass until you wake up and start beating it back. And you know, when I see self-love and all, I do understand where they're coming from. Those people are talking to people who are on the brink, right? Yep. And they think their entire world's crumbling, and they're telling them it's okay. But I actually think that's the wrong message. Mm-hmm. I think the right message is this: hey, this is how it is if you don't go hard. This is what you're going to get if you do not try hard to develop yourself and get off the bench and get in the game. And I say that out of a place of love and caring for people.
So you say, well, what's the meaning of life? It's like, it's the meaning that reveals itself when you take the pathway of maximal responsibility. That's a killer thing to know. The heavier the responsibility, the more profound the adventure. And so everyone knows that, but it's not catalyzed, eh? And so I've been suggesting to young men in particular, it's like, you want to get your life together? One way to increase the probability that things will unfold for you properly is to not lie. Just stop lying. Stop saying things you believe to be untrue. Stop doing things you know to be wrong. Just start with that.
Start with action and make small promises to yourself that you don't break. It needs to be, okay, what would have had to have happened in a week's time for me to look back on that week and find pride in myself?
The best way to contend with problems, with issues, with adversity is action, is by taking action.
You have the world on your side. But obviously, because if you're lying about things, you're opposing reality. Who are you? Who are you to oppose reality? Good luck.
Life is very convenient, and it is easy for people to not stick to the promises that they set themselves, because our ability to be idealistic is always going to outstrip reality's ability to deliver that to us.
The more you sit and the more you wait and the more time you spend with that adversity, with the upper hand inside your head, the worse it's going to get.
As soon as you posit an ideal, you then begin to compare yourself to that ideal. And true hell is when the person that you are meets the person that you could have been.
Go do something. Do the best thing that you can think of. Put the best plan you have into practice. It's not going to be perfect, and it will change along the way. But it will change partly because you become disciplined pursuing the path. And as you become disciplined, you become wiser. And as you become wiser, you become able to formulate better and better plans.
Taking action, making something happen. It doesn't have to be huge, but if you say, hey, listen, this is what happened, didn't go the way we wanted it to, we're gonna get our gear back on, we're gonna go back out. And it's in your personal life too. You know, something doesn't go the way you wanted it to go, you didn't get the job you wanted, you didn't get the hire, you didn't get the promotion, you can go home and sit there and dwell on it. That's not getting you any progress. Or you say, okay, you know what? Let me do a quick analysis. Why didn't I get that promotion? What do I need to, let me look into how do I get to jump through that gate so next time I will get the promotion, and you start taking action.
Maybe stop breaking promises to yourself. When you say, I'm going to wake up tomorrow at 7 a.m., and when the option comes to hit the snooze button, go and do it. There's one win that you've got for the day. That's action.
So you can start vaguely and confused and develop a plan that's not so great, and you start to implement it, and then you accrue incremental wisdom as you implement your flawed plan, and that enables you to fix the plan.
It's not glamorous, it's lonely. As you start changing, everything around you starts changing, people around you start, like it's not even fun in the beginning. And so you'd either have to have an incredible amount of hope or a ridiculous amount of inspiration and delusion, or you have to be in so much pain that the alternative to continuing this pain that you're in is to try something different because it's the only thing that might be slightly less painful than what you're doing.
Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. And do not worry that your life is turning upside down or not going the way that you want it to. How do you know that the side you are used to is better than the one that's to come?
If you're in a leadership position, you can't talk all the time, right? Obviously, as a boss, you need to communicate, you need to talk to your people. But if you talk too much, guess what happens? People stop listening to you. You're putting out too much information. They don't know what's important and what's not. So that's bad. You can't go too far in that direction. The other direction is you can't not talk enough, and now no one knows what's going on, no one knows what's happening. So you have to be balanced, and that's the whole idea of the dichotomy of leadership.
A blade does not become strong. It does not become tempered until it's been through the fire.
When you're not where you want to be in life, and if you're listening to this and you're just not satisfied with your position in life, it's hard to think that way. All you want is that thing, but you gotta somewhere along the line figure out how to enjoy yourself.
Having things isn't exciting. Getting things is exciting. All about the achievement. It's all about what comes next. It's all about moving towards something that you genuinely care about. It can be whatever it is that you want to do, like the next conversation, the next lesson that you learn, the next insight that you have about life, the next piece of curiosity that you satisfy, the next piece of content you create, the next message you get from somebody that says, dude, I really appreciate the lesson that you gave. It changed my life. It did the whatever. Being in the moment and realizing that when you look back, this will be the time that you cherish the most.
Somewhere along the line, figure out how to just go as hard as you can, but also enjoy it. Try to enjoy it, because that changes the whole tone of the experience, and I think that makes you more successful.
This is just your first or second time through the fire, and there's a lot of hammer work that has to take place. And then you're going to have to go back in the forge again, and it's hot, and it melts you down, and you're uncomfortable. And then life is going to pull you out, and it's going to put you on the anvil, and it's going to hammer on you some more.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living.
When you don't have a true appreciation and acceptance for who you are, and you allow yourself to be immobilized by fear, what happens in the process is that you begin to abuse yourself. You begin to sabotage your life, you begin to sabotage your dreams, you begin to unconsciously work against yourself. You become your own worst enemy.
Because you're sad, now you're gonna make a bunch of bad decisions because you're sad. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You're sad, okay. You get emotional sometimes, okay. Got it. Now, get control of your emotions and carry on with your life. And sometimes you're gonna get hit with those waves. And that's okay.
Everybody that's done something special in this world, you didn't go from 4,000 square feet to 40 or 44,000, whatever it is, if you thought like everybody else. You had to be crazy. How many people told you that? You're going from what to what? No, go a little smaller, just maybe double in size. I said, no, this is what we're going to do. Being crazy is a compliment. When somebody says you're crazy, that means you see things that other people can't see.
You begin to realize that your dream and your gifts have so much meaning and so much value for you till your hunger for them will begin to push you past the fear.
Everybody that's done something special in life, they've all been criticized for being crazy. It's a compliment. When somebody says, you're crazy, you're nuts, I said, yes, I am.
God says in Jeremiah, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. When you at this day, when you have reached the hilltop and you are deciding on next job, next steps, careers, further education, you would rather find purpose than a job or career.
God never sends me where I would be comfortable. He always sends me where I'm uncomfortable. That it's my job to make things comfortable. So no matter what life presents you, don't stop doing what you've been called to do.
Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you are here to fulfill.
So sometimes when you think you're making the wrong decision or you have to making the toughest decision because you're thinking about somebody else and the consequences, if you think the price of winning is too high, wait till you get the bill from regret.
When God has something for you, it doesn't matter who stands against it. God will move someone that's holding you back away from a door and put someone there who will open it for you.
Your hunger to have them will give you a special drive.
And that bill from regret is generational. And there's a lot of people listening to this that bill has been passed on from generation to generation, and you are holding that bill right now. And somebody in one of your generations has to pay that bill off.
Personal winters when your heart is smashed in 1,000 pieces and the nights are unusually long. It is simply called winter time. But here's what you've got to do in your own personal development, your own personal growth, and that is just get better at handling the winters. You can't change the winter, you can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. You say, well, what can I do about the upcoming winters of my life? The challenges that I know I'm going to face. Here's what you can do. You can get wiser and stronger and better.
I don't know what your future is, but if you're willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory, then you will not regret it.
You get to decide who you are. The things that dictate our lives are our beliefs. Your life is as good as you believe it's going to be. I think a 95% of life is how you look at it, and 5% is what happens to you.
Everything in life initially feels like bad reinforcement. You start going to the gym, you feel weak in order to become strong. You go to the library, you read, you don't understand, you feel stupid in order to become smart. The process of discomfort is inevitable. You have to go through it.
You got to have a plan. Everybody's got a dream. Everybody's got a goal. What's the plan? Your plan has got to be clear, concise, compelling, consistent, and committed. You've got to have a plan. And when you're trying to do something that you're truly passionate about, there is no plan B.
Successful people see opportunity in every failure. Normal people see failure in every opportunity. Both are right, only one gets rich.
So the idea that you go, what are you going to believe? Well, most of our beliefs, the beliefs that really affect us are the presuppositions that we make. We don't even think about them. We just think it's, oh, I'm not the kind of person that does that. And then you allow yourself at some stage, you go, well, fuck that. I'm going to allow myself to dream or to try and be more than.
Most people have that initial feeling, that initial lack of self-belief, because they don't understand that they have to be humbled first in every aspect in order to grow. You need to go through that parallel problem solving. You solve it, and then you get the reward.
You know what I'm saying? We only, we're all going to die one day.
Yeah, it's true.
So we live like that. Live like you could die tomorrow. Go for it. If I see something, I see an opportunity, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah. When you fight, always move forward.
Even if you're only moving forward half an inch at a time, just always move forward. So when you're moving forward, 100% of your attention is forward. But if you're moving backward, even a half an inch at a time, half of your attention is always behind you and where you're going. So always move forward, always dare to go forward. Whenever you have a choice of either staying still and playing it safe or moving forward, move forward. Not because you'll necessarily succeed every time, because it reinforces and cements the habit of moving forward.
So first is understanding that you're not what your parents tell you you are. You're not what your friends tell you you are. In fact, you're not even what you tell yourself you are, because you don't even truly understand your limitless potential. So when you live in a situation whereby you're limited by the opinions and the insecurities and the projections of other people, what you're doing is you're limiting your potential and your growth for self-development. And the first part is understanding that you can become whoever you want to become.
99% of people in the world are convinced that they're incapable of achieving great things, so they aim for the mediocre. The level of competition is thus fiercest for realistic goals, paradoxically making them the most time and energy consuming. If you are insecure, guess what? The rest of the world is too. Do not overestimate the competition and underestimate yourself. You are better than you think.
And most people, when they have a choice of moving forward or playing it safe, play it safe. There's no security in life, only opportunity. Life is very perverse in a way, because the more we seek security, the less we have it. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all.
Most important key to success, I think it's hunger. It's not getting satisfied. Anyone you respect who's achieved at the highest level, intelligence is an incredibly important distinction and a valuable thing to have in life. But I always tell people, you can find so many intelligent people that can't fight their way out of a paper bag. What matters is hunger. A hunger that doesn't go, a hunger to learn, a hunger to grow, a hunger to serve, a hunger to give, a hunger to create breakthroughs.
If you want to become successful, you will become successful. If you want to become rich, you will become rich. If you want to become literate, you will become literate. If you want to become well-traveled, you will become well-traveled. But you can't want something and then do another 100 things that are an antithesis or completely opposite to the goal that you want.
Only thing that you can do is win so big that all of them constantly compare themselves to you, and then you'll forget they exist. Success is the only revenge. It's not the best revenge. It's the only one. There's no other revenge, because everything else is petty. Everything else does show that you were thinking about these people all day long, which means they win by default. All you can do is think about your goal and winning. And when you win, that's when you become so big that they shrink into irrelevance.
Whenever there's no failure, there's no wrong. Whenever something doesn't go my way, it's because it wasn't supposed to. So when I say everything is God, you trust God. You think of the positives, not the negative. If one door closes, if you sit there and you staring at that one door, you're not looking around. 1,000 other doors have opened. All you gotta do is look around.
Perhaps what you should do as a man, irregardless, you should sit and wake up and say, God has given me the best possible journey on this planet. Of the 8 billion people, mine is the best. I got to see this bad thing happened to me, that was fantastic. This terrible thing happened, that was an interesting time. This good thing happened, this girl loves me for some reason, my life's amazing. Perhaps you should view your life as the best possible life. Perhaps that's the best way to be competitive.
Worrying is like paying a debt that you don't owe. And that's it. It's not just the discomfort of the thing that you're going to have to do. It's the 50 times that you think about that thing. Fear is an inch deep and a mile wide. So when you look at it, it looks like a huge ocean that's going to cause you to drown. But when you step in it, you realize it's really shallow and you're going to survive.
But it's not about the money. It's not about the business. It's about your growth. Because every one of us either grows or dies. People ask me all the time, what does it take to be happy? I say one word, progress. Progress equals happiness. If you can decide that success is life on your terms, but it's also a meaningful life, where you found something you care about more than yourself that you want to serve, whether it's your family or a community or a mission or your company, then you're blessed.
And most people, they want something, they wish things, but they don't truly want them and then work towards them. So know where you want to go, know what you want, and then don't want other 100 things that are completely opposite to the achievement of that goal. So how you do the small things is how you do the big thing. You just master building that foundation, building those little bricks day by day. And once you zoom back out, you'll see the beautiful creation, the beautiful artwork that you've built with your life. And it'll be a masterpiece for everybody to observe and be like, you know, this guy lived a great life.
But one of the main reasons that people don't get what they want is because they don't actually
figure out what it is. And the probability that you're going to get what would be good for you, let's say, which would even be better than what you want, right? Because you might be wrong about what you want easily. But maybe you could get what would really be good for you. Well, why don't you? Well, because you don't try. You don't think, okay, here's what I would like if I could have it. Imagine that you were taking care of yourself like you were someone you actually cared for. And then you thought, okay, I'm caring for this person. I would like things to go as well for them as possible. What would their life have to be like in order for that to be the case? Well, people don't do that. They don't sit down and think, all right, let's figure it out. You've got a life. It's hard, obviously. It's like 3 years from now, you can have what you need.
Think big. Think big. You can do it. You can do it. Why can't I do it? Take a little bit of piece at a time, have daily goals, monthly goals. You can make it happen. It can happen. What's impossible in your life, go after that.
You're gonna have doubt. You're gonna have frustration. You're gonna have anger. You're gonna have mistakes. But those things are necessary for you to gain the skills. And if you show up every day and you're effective every single day and you continue that for as long as you can, bro, there's no denying that you'll get where you want to go. It just depends on how long it's going to take.
Success is that experience of not only achievement, but fulfillment. And it can't be achieved unless you're growing and unless you're giving in ways that you're not positioning the giving. It's not what other people say, it's what you know in your soul. And I think if you can find those things inside yourself, they're not easy, but they're worth it. You'll have a life that will look like a dream to other people, and they'll all think you're lucky because we're all rewarded in public for what we've practiced continuously in private.
You can't have an easy life and a great character. Having stuff isn't fun. Getting stuff is fun, right? It's not the pursuit of happiness. It's the happiness of the pursuit. It's that thing, and it's not like, the self-help, it's not the journey, it's the destination. It's not either the journey or the destination. It's who you become on the journey. And here's the terrible thing about life. It's self-assignment.
If I have unbelievable big dreams and big goals, then I have to go through hard times. It's like hate. The hard times are a requisite for success. And so if you're going through hard times right now, it means that you're on the path to success. And it's not that you're on the wrong path. It's the feeling of being on the right path.
There's people who come from fucking literally nothing. No parents, adopted, no money, dirt poor, wearing the same clothes every day, who have built literally billion-dollar businesses, okay? If those motherfuckers can do it, I'm 100% sure that you can do it.
A lot of people say, oh, I just want to they're kind of dabbling in the idea of improving themselves. And the real way to do it is you got to write down what the fuck you want and then go after it. Because otherwise you live in sort of a wishy-washy world. If you decide I'm going to get down to bang, I'm going to do this, I'm going to run a marathon in less than 5 hours, I'm going to, whatever the fuck it is, you got to write that shit down and go for it.
When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person that walked into it. That's what the storm is all about. When you can't control what's happening to you, control how you respond to it. That's where your power is.
If you go the wrong direction, your life will be then the consequences of that bad choice. And then that will tangle you up, and then you'll suffer for it. Then you have to figure out, okay, what's the suffering? What's the problem? When did I make the bad choice? Which road should have I taken? That's how you fix a trauma. You replace the road you did take with the road you should have taken.
It might take you longer, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. And that's what you have to understand. If you were born in a shitty spot and that's the card you got dealt, guess what? The reality is you got to do more work.
You have to be okay with being misunderstood. You have to be okay with being rejected. You have to be okay with not thinking like the 99%. If you want to lead, you have to lead from a place of confidence. And the worst thing you want to be is be a follower that follows followers. A leader is the one that sets the direction, is the one that thinks on their own terms, whether they're right or wrong, whether you agree with it or not. You have to be able to turn your back to the crowd. You must be able to turn your back to the status quo and the norm.
I know that until you make a decision that you no longer want to feel how you feel, or you no longer want to think the way that you think, or you no longer want to have the kind of results or no results that you have, until you make that decision that, you know what, I know I don't feel great. I know I doubt myself. I know I've had a lot of bad things happen. I know there's a lot that I regret, but damn it, with the time that I have left in my life, I really want to start to enjoy myself. I want to take better care of myself. I want to feel happy. You don't even have to believe you deserve it yet. You can just want it. You've got to start there. You've got to start with wanting something better for yourself. And then I personally think the most important thing is to start acting like the person who has the things that you want right now, even though you don't feel like it.
The process it takes to be number one and stay at number one, you have no idea. Everybody wants to sit in your seat until they have to sit in your seat. Very few people understand. Everybody thinks the more you win, the more successful you are. It just makes everything so much easier. And they don't understand the pressures that these individuals put on themselves to continue to perform at the highest level.
If I could go back, I'd tell younger me, you're going to do some pretty great things, but you do not need to be great. All you have to do is be yourself. That will always be enough.
If you want to be a leader, you have to lead yourself first. And you have to lead yourself through free thought and through critical thinking. And unless you develop those things, then you're going to just be a follower of followers.
To do anything successfully in life, you've got to want it as bad as you want to breathe. And if you want it that bad, if you're willing to give it that much, you get a big piece of what you want. And dreams do come true. Anything you want can happen and become a reality.
I think I always felt like I wanted to be good at everything I did and be great at what I did. And I never expected to be as good as I was. So it would just be such an interesting relief to be able to give myself to be like, you are going to be great. You're going to have all these things that you want. But you're also going to realize that they're not as important as you think they are. You're going to come to the realization where the relationships and your values and everything that you enjoy and the experiences and everything aren't going to come down to those spectacular moments on stage at the Olympia. They're going to be much more simpler than that. They're just going to be those moments where you're being yourself.
Everything you're going through is God preparing you for where He's taking you. So now I had to develop this alligator skin. When you get out in the front, man, you get a lot of haters. And I say this to all my dudes, man, when I'm talking to them. You got to understand something about a hater. You've never had a hater that's doing better than you.
I think you would give me everything you own in 25 years' time to be the age you are now and as healthy as you are right now. And I think it's a really interesting meditation to think about, right, if you had a time machine, if you were 30 years in the future, if you could be this healthy and feel this good and be this age, you'd give everything materially that you own in 30 years' time to be back here.
I now see anything is possible and that you could train for anything. There's nothing you can't do. You can't be the best in the world at something, but you can be a lot better than you are at anything you want to put the time into learning, whatever it is. You could do anything.
Most things are actually significantly easier than people think they are. They just don't know how to try hard. Because the harder that you try, the easier it gets. And so it's like, if you can just learn to love what trying hard feels like, then all of a sudden it becomes unreasonable that you can't win.
These people that you're comparing yourself to, you don't really know very well. What that means is that you see their shiny outside, but you don't see the reality of their life. You know, maybe you're in California, see someone speeding down the road in a convertible Porsche, and you think, oh man, what a lucky bastard. And the truth of the matter is that he's thinking about wrapping his expensive sports car around the next cement pillar that he comes close to. The ideal that you're observing that makes you jealous and resentful is in large part an illusion that's created by your own mind.
And let me tell you something else. The comfort zone is dangerous. When you're comfortable, you are at most danger. The comfort zone is somewhere you should never feel comfortable. You should be happy and dissatisfied. Anybody ever tell you, hey, look, you know what? Just be satisfied with what you got. Don't believe them. Get them away from you. You should never be satisfied with what you got. Because the attempt to get more makes you into something better all the time. Don't let anybody tell you, hey man, you should just be happy with, no, you should double your business, triple it.
It's really just a journey of evolution every day. It's just constant improvement, constant curiosity, constantly getting better. The results don't really matter. It's the figuring out that matters.
Think of all your haters. Ain't none of your haters doing better than you.
Never say you can't do it. Say, I haven't done it yet. I haven't done it yet. And that's true with everything. It's like, there's nothing that you can't do. You may not have done it yet. We don't know if you can do it or not until you really practice. And then you find out if you can do it or not, or how well you can do it.
Yeah.
You're going to have thoughts come to your mind of why you can't get it. You have the ability in your conscious mind to reject that idea, kick it out of your mind. Thinking of why you can't do something is never going to do you any good. And keep thinking until you start to think of thoughts of how you can do it. And the way will be shown to you. It comes in the form of images in our mind. Think of how you can and not why you can't.
If you go visit the darkness that you've been running from, you'll have the opportunity to leave a better person. You'll have a better understanding of yourself. You'll have a better understanding of your purpose. But if you don't take that trip and the darkness comes visits you, it's a guest that will never leave.
We live in a world of regular people who are never going to do shit, who have already given up on their dreams, who have already decided that they are going to be this certain kind of person from now until the time that they die. And when you step out the boundaries that they have set for themselves, you are going to hear about it. You are going to get negativity. You are going to get people laughing at you. You are going to get people making fun of you. You're going to get people telling you that you're not being realistic and that you're not humble. Because here's the thing about success, is that the further you go, the further away you get from those people. And the further away you get from those people, the less you give a f about what they had to say about you. But most people spend their entire lives seeking the approval of people who don't even approve of themselves.
The haters is to throw you off track and distract you. And you gotta distract me because you see where I'm headed. But regardless of all the distractions, like say, I know how to get up. I'm gonna get up because it ain't about you. Haters are not decision makers, power brokers, or shakers and movers. Right. They just haters, man.
But if you believe that you're good at what you do, and you strive to be good at what you do, you don't need to worry about what other people think. You need to be able to understand that you have your own confidence that you can do whatever it is you're required to do, and other people will see that confidence in you.
Nobody cares about you. And I mean that in the most positive, optimistic, inspiring, motivating way. You think that everybody's paying attention. And because of that, it kind of controls how you think. And even when I was young and fearless and nothing to lose, I was still so cognizant of like, how are people going to react to this? And what's the best way to do, like, I was so aware. And the reality is nobody gives a shit.
Most things are actually significantly easier than people think they are. They just don't know how to try hard. Because the harder that you try, the easier it gets. And so it's like, if you can just learn to love what trying hard feels like, then all of a sudden it becomes unreasonable that you can't win.
Stop telling your visions to other people because they're not going to see it. Why you think you keep imagining opening a business? Why you keep imagining graduating, getting a better job? Why do you keep imagining buying a house? Why do you keep imagining driving a really nice car? Why do you keep imagining getting rich one day? Why do you keep imagining that?
Everybody is so focused on themselves in this world. Nobody has time for you. And the sooner you accept that as a creative person, the sooner you're free. Like, you're totally free. Like, do exactly what feels right to you.
If you decide that you will be poor, there's nothing I can do. You're gonna be poor. If you decide to be rich today, who gonna stop you? Who? If you decide you want to be rich, all you gotta do is start. Why not? Who gonna stop you? Unless you tell it to the wrong person.
Don't even bother asking. Bother telling the world you are ready. Show it. Do it. Ever tried? Ever failed? No matter. Try again. Fail again. Fail better. The world is yours.
If my life was a movie and someone were to watch it, I hope they'd be inspired to take risks, not just risks to achieve success, but embrace feeling, both pride and shame, fear and excitement. Personally, I want to experience as much life as possible, and that only happens when you embrace the highs and the lows.
When it's 0 degrees and there's a foot of snow on the ground and you're out there and no one else is out there and you're doing what the takes, and you look around and you can't see another fucking human for miles. You don't see a car, you can't hear anything. How can you not stop and be like, bro, I'm the only one?
There's been so many times where I've been in a prep and I felt way too far behind to win. And I had an injury last year when I tore my lat, tore my bicep. I was in the hospital, like all these different things going on, and I'm like, there's no way that I can do this. Like, it's impossible. And if I were to ever ask myself in the past, like, do you think you could win or get through this and do this? I'd be like, no way, it's impossible. But I was in it and I did it and I accomplished it. And I was like, I'm capable of so much more than my mind understands.
Most people don't know where they're going because they never have a goal. You need to have a clear goal. If you don't have a goal, you don't know where you're going to go in life.
Get yourself disciplined. Well, why? Well, not so you're a slave, but so that you could be a master.
I am the only one paying the price. I am the only one doing what's required. Everybody else is sitting at home eating Doritos, and I am out here in the snow getting better. How can you not be excited about that? If you can't get excited about that, and you can't find that mindset, go eat some donuts and get the up.
If they don't have what you want, don't listen to what they say. There's no greater waste of time than justifying your actions to people who have a life you don't want.
You need to be able to be very specific about the life that you want, about who you want to become. Mindset, your ability to develop thoughts, is extremely important because your thoughts dictate and create your reality. Thoughts lead to actions, actions lead to behaviors, and behavior leads to lifestyle.
This is in relationship to yourself, not to others. And to begin with, you have to accept an external master because you just don't have the wisdom to do that for yourself, or the ability or the opportunity often. Everybody knows this. They feel bad when they decide they're going to get themselves in good shape and go to the gym, and it lasts like 3 attempts. Yeah.
Everybody has a turn back moment. You have a moment where you can go forward or you can give up. But the thing you have to keep in mind before you give up is that if you give up, the guarantee is it will never happen. That's the guarantee of quitting, that it will never happen, no way under the sun. The only way the possibility remains that it can happen is if you never give up, no matter what.
I'm a big believer that you should only listen to somebody or take advice from people who have bigger dreams for your life than you do. And I think most people don't have bigger dreams for you, which just means that for me, like, their advice isn't valid. I think that, like, in the dark times that you will inevitably have in life, like, having someone who believes in you is just everything. It can be everything.
You can have what you want in 5 years, but there's 2 conditions. You have to know what it is, and you have to aim at it.
If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
When you get out of bed or you want to get out of bed, there's all these individuals that are lined up next to that bed. There's fear, there's doubt, there's compassion, there's hatred, there's excellence, there's sorrowness, there's excuses, and they all have their hands out. And then you get to choose every single day who gets a vote. It's your decision. And most times, many individuals make their decisions with their feelings. And when you have to make those decisions with your mind.
You're afraid that if you put your heart and soul into it and you fail, then how are you going to feel about yourself, right? And so being fearless means putting yourself out there and going for it. No matter what, go for it. Not for anybody else, but for yourself.
Fear is my friend. I love fear. Fear allows me to reach my highest potential. The fear of failing is an illusion. Fear is an illusion, but we have to have desire. We have to have something that pushes us. Fear pushes us. You don't understand that living prepares us for death. Our life, it prepares us for death. You know, even if we die young, it prepares us. When you don't have that feeling no more, it's over.
Here's the bottom line, you gotta do the work. You gotta do it when you don't wanna do it. You gotta do it when you're hurt. You gotta do it when you're tired. You gotta do it when you're sick. You gotta do it when you don't wanna do anything else. And you gotta do it for years. And that is the real shit.
I think one of the first ones that I started to learn that you can't really give a fuck about what people say no more. Because everybody gonna fucking critique everything that you do, no matter what you do. That shit will creep into your mind, no matter if you believe it or not.
Imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes?
Our fear makes us think things that don't even exist. Our biggest fear never happened. Whatever we're afraid of in life, our biggest fear never happens. We go to our grave and think, wow, this shit never happened. I was waiting for this, it never came, you know? It's just, it motivates us.
Every single morning, if you can't get out of your beds and you choose not to win, you listened to your feelings. If you chose to get out of bed and you said, there's a win for me, that's your mind. And each one of those individuals, you decide who gets a vote. And some days, not all the popular things are going to get a vote. Success may not get a vote. Winning may not get a vote. But you've made that decision that now this thing gets a vote. I must be ready to deal with it.
It is astounding how many people want to be spectacular in life, but also want to fit in and be normal. Like, by being normal, you are, by definition, aiming for average. Normal people get normal results. Weird people get weird results. You literally can't do what everyone else does and not expect to get what everyone else has. By doing what everyone else does, you guarantee average results.
It's so much easier to figure out who you're not. And if you start eliminating the who I'm not, by sheer mathematics, you end up
moving toward
who more of what feeds you and who you are. And it's a hell of a lot easier thing to go, how can I get rid of some bullshit in my life, than it is to go, well, how do I go to my true self?
What I see today is that everything's possible in this world for those who don't quit on themselves or their dreams. I've learned to reach higher and higher with our dreams, to become more ridiculous with our dreams, because they're all possible.
You will never succeed more than you fail. That's not how it works. You know why? Because failure is a wonderful teacher. It's the only way to learn. You have to fail. Failure is a part of the process to becoming successful. They write about when you make it. So guess what? When you get through failing, all you gotta do is make one.
Whatever game you play in life, sometimes you're going to lose. A point, a match, a season, a job. It's a roller coaster with many ups and downs. And it's natural when you're down to doubt yourself and to feel sorry for yourself. And by the way, your opponents have self-doubt too. Don't ever forget that. But negative energy is wasted energy. You want to become a master at overcoming hard moments. That is, to me, the sign of a champion. The best in the world are not the best because they win every point. It's because they know they'll lose again and again and have learned how to deal with it. You accept it, cry it out if you need to, and then force a smile.
I think the best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. But you always want to outwork your potential. You know, as hard as you believe you can work harder than that.
Once you know better, you got to almost do better. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I refuse to ignore it. I refuse to see it an opportunity that I had to change things and act like it didn't exist.
Everyone thinks you're crazy until it works. You always have to be the person who roots for you before everyone else does. And it's usually a single clap in the auditorium for a very long period of time. It is a slow clap that's just you rooting for you.
Don't do things just because you think you're going to get something for it. That's not why we do things.
Yeah.
Do what's interesting to you. Follow what's interesting. Don't worry about the outcome. We don't know. We can't predict the outcome. We can never predict the outcome. Follow your own inner guide. It directs us. It might not make sense. It might not make sense to us. Might not make sense to anyone else. Certainly won't make sense to anyone else. But it might not even make sense to us. And that's okay. It's fine. Listen to yourself. Why is it telling you this?
I think God wants me to be the best possible version of myself. I think that God dislikes people who are lazy. I said this to somebody once and he got very offended. I said, God doesn't like lazy people. God has created you and he wants to see the absolute best you can be. I think that if you don't take care of yourself, God has no interest in taking care of you. If you have a Ferrari on the drive and you don't take care of it, who's going to take care of it? Nobody.
Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. We are humans. But then again, if you always think that we're humans, you will always just be a human and always make the same fucking mistakes. You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this shit is knowledge. So I'm just trying to give people that strength to go in the archives of your life. Because while you're probably fucked up, it's probably something happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it, and then use it for yourself.
Do you actually want to do this or not? Do you actually want to do this or not? Because if you actually want to do it, what's going to stop you? Nothing. And if you don't really want to do it, what's going to stop you? Just about anything that comes up. Just about any obstacle that gets in your way becomes an excuse. It becomes a reason. It becomes a rationale for not proceeding down that path.
If you could be everything you could be, you have to voluntarily take on the weight of the worst life has to offer, including the depths of malevolence itself. How are you going to adapt to a situation you won't even admit to? Well, so how could it be otherwise than for you to become everything that you could be, you have to embrace all of the catastrophes that life has to offer. Like, how could it be other than that? You're going to hide? You're going to pretend? How's that going to work? No one thinks that'll work.
If you want to be a good leader, you have to understand human nature. And the places where human nature reveals itself most clearly are times of extreme sorrow, pain, suffering, and inhumanity.
The Mamba mentality simply means trying to be the best version of yourself. That's what the mentality means. It means every day you're trying to become better. And it's a constant quest. It's an infinite quest.
I think that taking care of yourself and being the best possible version of yourself you can be is how you please God. I think that's one of the best ways to praise Him, is to wake up every day and say, I need to be the strongest, smartest, fastest, most fearsome, most stoic, most capable man I can possibly be. This is how I please God. I don't believe you can become the most famous man on the planet calling yourself the top G without the universe testing if you're really about it. I don't think you're going to get to a point where the universe, whatever you want to call it, is going to say, is he really the top G? Yeah. And you're going to have to prove it. If you walk through life and say, I'm made of iron, I'm Mr. Tough Guy, sooner or later someone's going to check you and find out if you are or not.
There's a story in the Bible where Solomon is dreaming. He goes into dream state, and God comes to him in dream state, and he says, anything that you want, I will give you. If you want wealth, I'll give you wealth. I'll make you the richest man. If you want kingdoms, I'll give you the kingdoms. Tell me whatever it is that you want, and I'll give it to you. And Solomon didn't ask for riches, didn't ask for kingdoms. He asked for one thing. He said, give me wisdom. And God gave him wisdom. After that, the riches came, the kingdoms came, and every other thing that comes with it. So as I read that, I sat there and I was like, God, give me wisdom. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what this means, but give me wisdom and allow me to be a person that makes decisions not out of spontaneity, not out of reactiveness or out of emotion, but out of a state of mind in which I can be wise.
You know, when you say you're gonna do something and then you follow through and you do it, not at the end when you cross the marathon, you finish it, or your hands raised. I'm talking about right now. The small steps in between the big successes that everyone sees. No one sees this.